Two witnesses, presentation number 39, and we are continuing the thread of Babylon. We are last four presentations, and we are taking another step, that is part 5 of Babylon. And today I want to focus on Daniel 3 as the chapter that to discuss the beast and its image of the beast. This is a fine thread that runs through the Old Testament, and there are more than one place. Daniel is not the only place where we have image and worship of the image. We have all through scriptures pretty much sprinkled and scattered over. And I want to pick up major items, major places where this is more evident, and that is Daniel 3. So image of the beast. And before starting the main presentation, I want to say congratulations to all of you that we have reached a milestone of 1 year. We have started a year ago, exactly this month, very close to few days apart. We would be finishing 1 year. So I would call this as anniversary presentation. And I certainly see the fruits of working hard through the whole year. And we have come to this uh, milestone. And last Tuesday, during the discussions, I saw like people are more readily harmonizing things. Uh, for example, like Alan, Marlene, and Rita, and few others, they were able to relate the tree of Babylon with where the birds of the air have nested in the branches, and the beasts of the field uh, took shadow under this huge tree that reached to heaven, and that tree was chopped down. And they could relate this to parable of mustard seed. We have very similar semantics. A tree, kingdom of God, is like a mustard seed, but it grows into a huge tree where again birds of the air come and roost and nest in the branches thereof. And of course, the beasts that come and take shelter under its shadow, that beasts was omitted. Uh, Obviously, he wants us to go to Daniel 4 and study the vision and dream given to Nebuchadnezzar, and where we have very exact theme. And that's a joy of discovering the patterns and the pattern matching. So we would continue our study for the second year, and I'm excited. I hope you are all excited with the growth and the maturity we have gained through hard work of 1 year. And I would see more in the second year and much more in third year. And many of the teachers who have studied Bible for several decades, they say like 5 years is really, you see an explosion of growth. So God willing, if we can stay together like this for fifth year, and probably at that point we would have much more insight and much more knowledge base and much more discernment and much more harmonizing. We could probably learn much more threads, many threads, and many entities, and the richness of the Bible prophecy that would help us and really make us matured Christians. And God, no doubt, pronounces a blessing for those who read the things written in the book of Revelation and do those things. God commanded a blessing. We don't know how the blessing translates, but nevertheless, there's a blessing from God for studying prophecy. So I hope each and every one of you would be richly rewarded by God and richly blessed for continuing this incredible journey of the prophecy. So today we would discuss the image of the beast is very popular, and most people are somewhat aware of the image of the beast in Revelation, but very few people are actually aware of Daniel 3. So Daniel 3 is the place we have the rudiments of an image and rudiments of worshipping of the image. And this image comes from the beast of Babylon, from Nebuchadnezzar. So let me stop share here and start whiteboard so that we can learn few things from whiteboard presentations. And here we started the foundation of Babylon with Tower of Babel. Tower of Babel is the foundation for the whole thread of Babylon. The Tower of Babel starts with let us build a city and let us build a tower, a ziggurat. So have a spiral. Let us build a city. This is also city, and this is also a tower. And let us make a name for ourselves. The name is Hebrew word Shem. Shem, this is authority of God. Authority of God. So people did not want authority of God. They don't want Shem. So the word Shem, let us make a name, therefore means let us make a Shem, our own Shem, for our own selves. So they rejected Shem. They hated Shem, and they did not want to listen to Shem. And they did not like Shem telling them what to do. So Shem is a picture and type and shadow of Christ. In shadow, we have Shem, but in reality, spiritual reality, we have the Babylon. Its essential central theme of Babylon is let us make our own Christ. We don't like the Christ that comes from God. We make our own Christ. We make our own rules, but just use the name Christ. Because they also said, we will make our own Shem, but it is according to our will and our desire, and whatever we like, we make Shem, or we make God, or God's authority. So Christ is the authority from Father, and he is wisdom, and he is power from Father. And so the mystery Babylon, the spiritual Babylon, would reject the real Christ, the true Christ, and they make up their own Christ. That is the Babylon. That is the foundational statement of Babylon. Let us make a name for ourselves. And we have lots of things behind the scenes. The tower, let's make a tower. The tower is a Hebrew word called Migdal. This is a very fascinating Hebrew word. Migdal means both tower, and it has secondary meaning of pulpit. Or you can say rostrum. What is pulpit and what is rostrum? This is where the preachers would preach. This is where the teachers would teach. So you have a true teacher teaching from pulpit, and they wanted to build a city and a tower in opposition to God, in rebellion against God. So it's a very interesting Hebrew nuances we come. When they're building tower, they're also building their own pulpit, their own rostrum. That means they're building their own teachers. They, they heap up teachers to satisfy their itching ears. That's where Babylon is in reality. So this is the background. Babylon takes away, rejects the authority of God and institutes its own authority. Its own authority, that is the foundational, and it builds its own pulpit, its own preachers and teachers. That's where the Babylon, where the truth is compromised, or truth is rejected, or truth is mixed with lie. So anything that is not exact word of God is Babylon. Anything that is not exact red letters, that are the teachings of Christ, the words of Christ, anything other than that, if you are banking, Babylon got you. You are already captured by Babylon. So we have a battle of two mountains and two kingdoms in the end time. We have only two. We have discussed this, but let me give you background. This, I think this is important. So in the end time, you have two women, two women. So here, pardon my thing. This woman is called New Jerusalem. You have another woman. She is Babylon. Actually, God puts mystery, mystery Babylon. And these women are called mothers. So you have two mothers. And the mother is primarily, fundamentally in Bible, mother is a symbol for instructor. She instructs. She tells you what to do and what not to do. So this authority, New Jerusalem, is mother of us all for the true church and true Christians. And this is for everybody else, who are not in truth. The mystery Babylon is their mother. So there are two mothers, and there are also two mountains. This mountain is called Zion, and this mountain is also called Babylon. And there's also two cities. This is also a city. Zion is New Jerusalem, a city, as well as mother. And this is also a city. Mystery Babylon is a city. This mystery Babylon, mother, rides on the beast, a mega beast, a world superpower, rides over beast or beast. Now, the New Jerusalem is mother of us all. She also instructs. She's also a mountain. She's also a city. She instructs and tells us so that all the people will come to conform, to come to the confirmation or match to the image of Christ. Image of Christ. This is what this woman tells us and helps us, encourages us, instructs us, so that we all come to the conform to the image of Christ. Christ is image of Christ is Christ, who is also image of the Father. So indirectly, This woman is helping us to image of Father, God the Father. Here, on the other hand, this woman confirms to this woman rides on beast. So it helps us to confirm to the image of the beast. Image of the beast. So now we have two images, image of Christ and image of the beast. So she forces people to construct the image of the beast, and then also it forces people to worship the image of the beast. This worship is directed sometimes to the beast directly, sometimes to the image of the beast. Now, image of the beast, it encourages in the beginning, then it also forces. 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 Forces how many people? Which people? All. All people. It will force them to worship the image of the beast. Whoever fails to worship the image of the beast, they get killed. They get killed. And the woman, this mystery Babylon, it creates the image in such a way that she gives power or some kind of animating power. It's called spirit, but in Greek it is pneuma. It gives pneuma to the image of the beast, so that image of the beast is given life, some kind of animating spirit it gives, so that this image kills those who refuse to worship the image of the beast. So this woman is split into, the whole Babylon is split into two components. One is political. This is called beast. There's also a second component called religious. This is religious. This is called false prophet. So I'm taking time to introduce all the terminology and vocabulary. So it has two components always. Either the woman is political or religious, it's all submerge or converge. So we need to be very careful to know it has always two components, political and religious. And here, Christ also has two components, political and religious. Religious. Political is your kingship. King, he was king. Religious, he was also priest. We who follow Jesus Christ in truth, we are called kings and priests. Kings and priests. So he has two offices, both political as well as religious. But right now we are trained in both the offices, but invisibly within our hearts and minds. As priests, we offer our bodies as sacrifices, living sacrifices. and an acceptable sacrifice to God. So priest is the one who does acceptable sacrifice. And king rules with a scepter of righteousness. We rule all our mind, heart, and body, ourselves, our lives, with scepter of righteousness. So we have those offices when we are in this, under this woman, Mother New Jerusalem. And they also have the political and religious offices. The political office is beast, not a righteous king, it's a beast. And the religious office is not a pure priest, but a false prophet. False prophet is analogous to a priest, which is like a defiled priest, you can say. So this is the big picture. In Revelation, you have the image of the beast gets sophisticated, and the image is given life, so that image itself starts interacting with the people, and whoever refuses to worship the beast or its image, this image kills. That is in Revelation. But in shadow, in Daniel chapter 3, when Nebuchadnezzar builds a huge image and he enforces the worship of the image. Let me introduce that. This is like electronic whiteboard. Okay. So Nebuchadnezzar is king of Babylon. He institutes a, a huge image. Institutes, and you have people here. All the people, there's a designated appointed time. It's almost like festivals. Nebuchadnezzar will appoint a time and the day, or every day, sometime, they would make loud noise, maybe some kind of trumpets they blow, and then all people, all Babylonians should fall down to the ground and worship the image of the beast. This is image. This is the image, probably reflecting Babylonian gods. And the image is created and instituted by King of Babylon. King of Babylon, which is Nebuchadnezzar. We can call him Nebi for abbreviation. So Nebi creates this image. Nebi enforces the worshipping of the image of the beast, and whoever refuses to worship, he will kill them. How he kills them? There is a fire, furnace of fire. Furnace fire. This person would be thrown into the fire. That's how people who refuse to worship the beast or bow down to the image of the beast, they're killed. So here in this smaller context of the kingdom of Babylon, all Babylonians, all the citizens of Babylon, including bond people, bonds, slaves, everybody has to fall down and worship the image of the beast. We see the exact pattern in Revelation when the mystery Babylon enforces the worship of the image of the beast. It causes all, small and great, bond and free, rich and poor, everybody is forced to worship the image of the beast. And we have additionally a mark of the image of the beast. So you have mark also, there's more sophistication. when these things play in spiritual reality. But now we are doing the shadow. So the king of Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, this whole Babylon is actually a beast government. It's a political. So this is created and enforced. The beast creates and enforces the worship of the image. So we can paraphrase this image as image of the beast, either image from the beast or of the beast, but this is heavily related to the beast. And the and Daniel's three friends, they will refuse to worship the image of the beast. So Daniel is the prophet, and we have Daniel 3. We have three righteous men. Righteous men. They refuse to worship the image of the beast, and they represent us, true church. True church who refuse to worship image of the beast in current reality, in present reality. So they refuse. So Nebuchadnezzar takes three of them and puts them into the furnace. You know the story, probably you learned it as a kid. And Nebuchadnezzar was so mad and enraged because they refused to worship the image of the beast. So he asks the fire to be increased 7 times. And then he throws them. And some of the workers who are increasing the fire 7 times, they die because of the excessive heat. And the three would fall into the furnace, and he waits for them to be decimated and turned to ashes. So the Nabi watches them, and he doesn't see them to be destroyed or burnt. He see them walking in the midst of the fire, and he not only looks and observes three men he has thrown into the fire, he also sees one more person, 3+1 pattern. He sees Son of Man or Son of God here, plus with these three people, and these 3+1, he sees four individuals, and the fire would not touch them. Their hair is intact, their clothes are intact, their skin and body is intact in spite of 7x times the increase of the things. And then Nebuchadnezzar realizes and repents. Oh, servants of God, come out, come hither. And they come out, and all the three unharmed. But there's very fascinating things. He sees the fourth person, and he identifies that one looks like Son of Man. That's the title of Jesus Christ. This is a great shadow God has given, and the richness of teachings embedded in this would behooves us, would shock us, and would greatly surprise us. And the joy of knowing the mysteries of God as God unlocks them is priceless. I invite you to join this journey of discovering God and his prophecies. With this, we will shift back to our scriptures, and so let's continue. I will skip several verses because we have already dealt with these things. So this is the woman, the mystery Babylon, Babylon the Great, the mother. She's called mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. She is drunken with the blood of the saints and martyrs of Jesus. So she's a killer woman. I think last time Jenny asked if she is same as uh, spirit of Jezebel. Jezebel is another threat. She's not same as Jezebel. So we have different threads actually. So you have thread of Jezebel that comes Jezebel, and you have thread of Babylon, and you have several threads that are running. You have all these threads, I see them all converging into one political and religious entities, one set of entities at the end time. So somehow they converge, but they are not identical. Jezebel has a different track and it has its own details, its own take, its own approach, very different from Babylon. And Babylon is very different from Jezebel. Like there, we have other threads also going in these other threads. We have locusts, spiritual locusts. We have lots of threads. They start from somewhere in the first or second books of Bible, Genesis, and then they start traveling through the scriptures, books and chapters, and finally they converge in book of Revelation. So that is the relationship between Jezebel and Babylon, but eventually I think they become uh, somewhat referring to the same entity. So this is Tower of Babel. I just retained few uh, pictures from the past presentations. Let us build a tower and let us build a city. Let us make a name for ourselves. Let us make a Shem, our own Shem, and our own Jesus Christ Yeshua. That is the foundation of Babel. And from Babel, you have Babylonian Empire. And the concept traverses through the pages of Bible, but we have to start somewhere from scratch to fully understand and learn this marvelous prophecy of Babylon, of other artistic view. It's a ziggurat, and you have spiral staircase. At the top, there is some temple, pagan temple, Baal. And this is another view. And then you have the great Babylon Nebuchadnezzar built with hanging gardens, and have another view of Babylon. It's a rectangle, and you have Euphrates going through the city. It's another view of the city of Babylon. Then have this is supposed picture of Nebuchadnezzar. It's a sculpture, and we are not sure again. And this is another artistic view of Nebuchadnezzar riding himself, looking at all the Babylon. And this my hands have made for my glory. And God knocks him down and turns him and transforms him into a beast for 7 times. And then he realizes Most High rules over everybody. Even though I think I'm the only sovereign ruler of the entire world, but there is another ruler and another kingdom above my kingdom. My kingdom is nothing compared to that kingdom. So that's what last time we studied. And now the Babylon enforces the image of the beast and worship of the image of the beast. And there are terrible consequences if anybody refuses to worship the image of the beast. So we will pick up the story in Daniel 3. And this is what Nebuchadnezzar was made. Let's go to Daniel 3 quickly. Daniel 3, verse 1. Just observe the details as much as you can. I will just make commentary as we go along the scriptures. Nebuchadnezzar, king, made an image of gold. See, it's very important, the metal, gold, an image of gold, whose height was threescore cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura and in the province of Babylon. It's a big size image, and it's much larger than human beings, and it is seen from a distance. And probably it was put on a pedestal. This image is similar to Tower of Babel. It's tall and visible from long distance, as if this is reaching heaven. It's very similar to the tree that is shown to Nebuchadnezzar, that a mega tree, huge and long and tall, and that was also visible from the ends of the earth. It is as if it is reaching heaven. So here same concept is presented to us. So first that was a tower, and second it was a tree, and fourth it was an image of the beast. So I want you to see the parallels. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, sent. So this is a grand idea, grand thought of Nebuchadnezzar. He was so proud that he could make such a huge image. Probably he spent fortunes on that. He got technicians and artists to create this. So he's so proud of this work, and the image probably was astonishing, and for the human eye, such a huge and probably well decorated. It is made up of gold and probably studded with precious stones, and it is awesome for a Babylonian eye. And such an awesome work. After all, king took so much pain and so much time to get this project accomplished, and he was so proud. And it is the least thing that he wants is the Babylonians, whole Babylonians, come and appreciate his work. What a favor he is doing to the Babylonians. What a great blessing he is bringing through this image. And he wants every Babylonian to bow down, fall down to the ground, and worship the image as a token of appreciation and token of loyalty to the king and loyalty to the kingdom of Babylon. And there are several things. There are political reasons, there are spiritual reasons, there are emotional reasons. There are all kinds of reasoning that goes behind the image and enforcement of its worship. Then, verse 2, then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, and the counselors, and the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces. So, all the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. So, this is a state function. It's a federal state, and all the vassal kingdoms have to send their representatives, and all the people within Babylon have to come and present at this wonderful ceremony of the dedication of this statue slash idol or image. Then the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, and the treasurers, and the counselors, and the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. So this is official ceremony. And then a herald cried out. So it's a loud voice. To you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages. See, everybody is under Babylonian command. So all the known and habitable world was brought into subjugation under King Nebuchadnezzar. So there are people, nations, languages, we can say tongues. We see the same phrase in Book of Revelation. So to them it is addressed. Verse 5, Daniel 3, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you all, in Texas, you all, fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. So everybody has to fall down when they make this sound with multiple musical instruments and probably a shout also. It's a one-time mega event. Everybody has to fall down. That's how they dedicate this image to the worship of Babylonian gods. In honor of the beast, in honor of Nebuchadnezzar. If you don't fall down and do this, you are disobeying the command of the king or the emperor Nebuchadnezzar. So it is a dishonoring of the beast. The beast is worshipped indirectly. The king is worshipped. Remember last time we learned there's a worship of royalty, worship of king. That was de facto for all the ancient kingdoms, city-states. So it's a worship of government, in other words, in modern times. And whoso falls not down, here is the enforcement. Whoso falls not down and worships shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. So we have burning fiery furnace. Therefore, at the time when all people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar, the king, had set up. So far, so good, except for the three people who refuses. They are faithful to Yahweh, their God. These three people come from Judah. And these three people still have a covenant relationship with their God, Yahweh, through Sinai covenant. Nevertheless, they are covenanted people in the shadow. So they represent us. We are also covenanted people with God under new covenant with the precious blood of Jesus Christ, Yeshua. Wherefore, at that time, certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. So the Chaldeans are the official people, they are majority people. Many of them occupy high positions, and probably they are priests, magicians, and soothsayers. So they came near and raised an accusation to Nebuchadnezzar against certain Jews. So we will continue the story. They spoke and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. So they address this salutation. Daniel also does this salutation similar. And verse 10, Thou, O king, has made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. Did you not make this ruling? Did you not make this command? And whoso falls not down and worships, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. Is it not true, king? You gave this such a great command. So they're setting up these three Jewish lads. There are certain Jews whom you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon. These three names, these are Babylonian names given to on top of Jewish names. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, these men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set. So they are successful in bringing the accusation. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, he was so upset, so angry, he was shaken and commanded to bring all the three men. And then they brought these three men before the king. And Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? He personally wants to make sure that what he heard is right. These guys are not doing a foul play or tricking him. So he himself wants to firsthand confirm from these three men. And these three men are not adults or older men. They believe to be younger, maybe around teens, we would say. Verse 15, now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, the long list, I don't know why, psaltery and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. This is my grand accomplishment. But if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? So here is the pride of Babylon, the pride of the king of Babylon. Who will deliver you from my hands? Let's see. You seem to be worshipping a strange God, an unknown God. Who is this God after all? I am the God. I am worshipped as God. I am the mighty emperor of this mighty nation called Babylon. I subjugated every country, every nation, every languages under my authority. After all, I am the Superman. I am the superpower. And who can deliver you from my hands? Which is this God you are worshipping? Oh, Shadrach, Meshach, and all three guys answered and said unto the king, this is where the true church has to witness. This is the witness. We are called unto witness and stand for God and stand for his son. So answered and said unto the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. So we are not afraid to answer you, O king, even though you bully Nebuchadnezzar. That's a tone, and we are not afraid of you. We are not anxious. If it be so, our God, if it be so, that is, you want to throw us into the fire, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. What a courage. What a courage based on faith. What a commendable statement they issued. They stood against the number one Superman and superpower of the whole world at that time. They stood up against the king to serve their God and to obey their God and to worship their God only, none else. No other idol, no other image, no other gods. We worship only our God Yahweh, with whom we have covenanted. We are his covenanted people. He is able to deliver us from your hands, O Nebuchadnezzar. And also, what if not? What if God chooses not to deliver us? That's also fine for us. Look at their testimony, look at their witness, look at their faith. But if not, if God chooses not to deliver us, be it known unto you, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. So they made their statement, their witnessing is complete, then the execution would start. Look at the reaction. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed. So he was the steam coming out from his nostrils and from ears, from his eyes, and you can see the rage and madness of a Gentile king was changed against these three men. Therefore, he spoke and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was won't be to be heated. So the 7x, 7 times, he commanded that the furnace to be heated. So that was his rage of disobeying and standing against his image. Verse 20, he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind these three uh, officers and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. So he brought able-bodied men. It is like our special ops, or some people in FBI which are tall, like 7 feet high, very muscular. Sometimes they are called to handle the worst criminals. So here, these three men are like worst criminals, and they were handled by best and able-bodied uh, armed forces. Then these men were bound with in their coats. So their coats are there, they're bound. And so they were tied with ropes, perhaps they're bound, and their hosen and their hats and their other garments. And they were bound, they were not freely thrown into the fire. They were bound and thrown into the fire along with their garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So here you have the unmitigated, hastily raising the temperatures of the furnace. They are not properly. They did not expect the heat of the fire when they step up 7 times. They did not probably have experience to handle such thing, so they were burnt. Whoever are increasing the fire. So that tells us the fire was real because it killed a bunch of his own men. So the fire, if it is real, it killed people. So it has to be true miracle that these three men escaped. Verse 23, and these three men fell down, bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. So then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, was astonished, I think it is astonished, and rose up in haste. So he was shocked beyond anything. And what he saw in the furnace, he couldn't believe his own eyes. Something impossible is happening, which his eyes, with full of unbelief and shock, has to see. And he rose up in haste and spoke and said unto his counselors, did not we cast three men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto king, true, O king. He was just confirming, we did really throw these three guys into the fire. And he answered and said, lo, wow, I see four men loose and walking in the midst of the fire. He dropped them into the fire bound, but they are no longer bound. They are walking in the fire and they have no hurt. Fire did not consume them. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of God. This is very important phrase. So for us in spiritual reality, the fourth man, the fourth person is Yeshua, Jesus Christ, who will do exactly same, delivering us from the enforcement of the image of the beast, its worship. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spoke and said, their names, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God. He changes the language. Till such time, he says, who is that strange God? Let him deliver from my hands. Who can deliver you? Now he's changed the phraseology. The servants of the Most High God. This God is higher than even my gods, the Babylonian gods. Come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth out of the midst of the fire. Of course, Jesus Christ probably left, Son of God. And the princes, governors, and captains, and king's counselors being gathered together saw these men upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was a hair of their head singed. Neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had cast on them. They couldn't even smell the fire on their bodies, on their hair. What a fantastic miracle. What a fantastic deliverance of God. God chose to deliver these men at that time. What if God chooses not to deliver us? We should respond exactly like these three men. If not so, if God chooses that he would not deliver us but go through death, we will go through death and glorify God. That's the lesson. Then Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any God except their own God. He changed the rules. He changed his own rules. Make a provision for people of God to still live quietly and peaceably. Therefore, I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss or any blasphemy against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego in the province of Babylon. That comes to the end of the Daniel 3, but I want to quickly go through the book of Revelation, see the image and the worship of the image so that we get some idea, but we will discuss them in greater detail. So let me take another 10 minutes to go through the verses that deal with image of the beast in book of Revelation. Revelation 13, starting from verse 11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and spoke like a dragon. He looks like lamb, again, a symbol of Jesus Christ. He looked like Son of God, but spoke like dragon. He's a devil, camouflaging himself as Christ. He's Babylon. He is false prophet. He has his own authority. He appears to have Christ as his authority because it looks like lamb with two horns, but he spoke like dragon. Inside the heart, out of abundance of heart, the mouth speaks. So he has his own authority, not Christ. Here, devil presenting himself as Christ, or the entity of mystery Babylon presenting herself as Jesus Christ, Yeshua. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. So we have division of this Babylon into political, that is first beast, and religious, that is the second beast, which is the Babylon or the false prophet, them which dwelled therein. So let me read verse 12 again to get the context. And he, that is the false prophet, exercises all the power of the first beast, that is the mega beast, political beast, before him, and causes the earth, who is now caused the whole earth, not the Babylon. We're not talking about the Babylon in shadow, which is limited to the kingdom of Babylon and those kingdoms under the authority of Nebuchadnezzar. Now we're talking about entirely a different system, global in scope. It's a spiritual system. Whole earth, it causes the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast. So it's a direct worship of the beast whose deadly wound was healed. So you are worshipping the beast, worshipping the political entity, you are worshipping the government, or you are worshipping the president, prime minister, king, whoever the leader of those kingdoms, those beasts. So there's a that worship is the fundamental thing. Then instead of direct worship, there is an indirect worship also would be introduced by creating an image to the beast. And verse 13, he does great wonders so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. So he does lots of miracles, supernatural activities. Revelation 13, verse 14. He deceives them that dwell on earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on earth that they should make an image to the beast. So in the shadow, Nebuchadnezzar made the image. But here, the people who worship the image are people who are dwelling on the earth. They are told to make the image. So it is people who are making the image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So they're making this image not to any of the beast, any of the kingdoms, any of the governments. There is one specific government, there is one specific beast, there's one specific country that has received deadly wound, disappeared for many centuries, and now has come to life, came back to it. There's only one country. And everybody, all the Christians, all the churches, they will make an image to that country, that beast, and worship either that beast directly or the image to the beast, which had wound by a sword and did live. Verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. This power, life is pneuma. It gives some kind of demonic energy to this image. So that image does something, that the image of the beast should both speak. So it begins to speak like a human being and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. It's similar to Nebuchadnezzar, who refuses to worship the image of the beast, were killed, thrown into furnace of fire. Here we were not told how they are killed. They're killed. All in the on the earth would include in this list, just like all the Babylonians were included in the shadow. Revelation 13, verse 16, and he causes all, everybody, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So the image of beast and the worship of the image of beast gets sophisticated. It acquires many forms and many nuances. Now, image would speak and kill, and now the image of the beast, mark of the image of the beast is also enforced so that people have to receive either on their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell except he that had the mark or the name of the beast or number of his name. So it gets more complex, more sophisticated. Here is the wisdom. Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is number of a man, and his number is 603 score 6, which is 666, 666, or 666. That is the number of the beast, or number of a man, which is related to the image of the beast. Let's continue a few more verses. Revelation 14, verse 9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worships the beast, worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So God also swings into action. He gives a warning to those who are receiving the mark or worshiping the image of the beast or worshiping the beast directly, either case. So all the three go together here, if you see. Worship of the beast directly, worship of the image, or receiving the mark on forehead or right hand or hand. So all the three are synonymous. You can do either of them, either one of them, two of them, or all of them. It's same worst thing you will be doing, and God promises to pour out his wrath without any dilution, without mixture, into those people that would take the mark of the beast. So there's a choice, but there are consequences. The, the beast and false prophet would kill you if you refuse to take the mark of the beast. But if you take the mark of the beast, God will come and pour his indignation. So here, there is no lukewarm person. Here, there are no more sitting on fence. You're either on God's side or on the other camp. Verse 11, and the smoke of their torment ascends up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night. Who worship the beast, his image, and whosoever receives the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Just like those three young lads, have to be patient and faithful. Here are they that keep the commandments of God. Those are like red letters, commandments of Jesus Christ and faith of Jesus. You can't say faith of Jesus and I will follow commandments of Paul. That doesn't work. Or you would say faith of Jesus I have, but I will follow commandments that are given through Moses. That doesn't work. If you have faith of Jesus, you should follow commandments of Jesus, which are again from God. That's what we were discussing in the epistles of John. Revelation 15. And I saw verse 1, and I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels with 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of God. And I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast. So these have come out of great tribulation. These have come out of overcoming the beast and image worship or mark of the beast. What is the reward? They're sitting on the sea of glass mingled with fire in heaven. Them that had gotten victory over the beast and over his image or worship of the image, over his mark and over the number of his name, that is 666, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of God. What a magnificent scene. And they sing the song of Moses. It's a code name for Christ. So they're singing the song of Christ, the servant of God. The song of Lamb is clarifying, saying, great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints, the King of saints. We are called saints, our King. They're praising. Not Moses, it's an illusion. Revelation 16:1. I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials or golden bowls of wrath of God upon the earth. So here, the 7 angels with the last 7 plagues, with the last 7 golden bowls, they pour out wrath of God. And the very first judgment is like this. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon men which had mark of the beast, and upon them that worshipped his image. So God is throwing first judgment, bowls judgment on those who receive the mark of the beast or worship the beast directly or the image of the beast. Revelation 19, verse 20, and the beast was taken. This is the fate of the beast. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet who is doing this dirty work, that wrought the miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and then them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone. Remember, in shadow, Nebuchadnezzar warned his people, whoever fails to worship, I will throw them into a fiery furnace. Now God is saying, reverse of it. in the spiritual reality. Whoever received the mark of the beast or worship the image of the beast, I am going to throw them into the lake of fire, including the beast and false prophet. They are going into the lake of fire. It's a bigger fire and a bigger furnace, and it results in second death. Revelation 20, verse 4, and I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, nor had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. So it is not optional for you to take the image of the beast or mark of the beast or any of these things. You have to understand and discern who is the beast and who is the false prophet. What is the image that is enforced? What is the worship of that image? What is the mark of the beast? How do I take mark of the beast on my forehead or right hand? You need knowledge of all these things, and you should have faith and power to reject the mandates of those entities and stand with Son of God. And then you would be resurrected and rule with Christ for 1,000 years, as we understand it to be millennium. So you have to be aware and you should have knowledge and understanding to begin with. That brings us to the end of the presentation. We will open the room for your insight, your discussions. Greatly valued and welcome.